Greetings everyone, Baldus here. In this video, once again, I'm bringing you guys another build that destroys T100s that doesn't rely on bugged bulwark damage. This build is based around Lightning Storm and follows a similar basis to the pre-season setup, using Direwolf's Aspect, Rampaging Werebeast, and Tempest Roar. We are scaling our crit damage while using Grizzled Rage and also benefiting from multiple on-hit effects from our aspects and skill tree. The main difference with this setup is that we are stacking max health and defensives through gear and the Paragon Board with minimal damage loss. By stacking our life, we are able to tank mobs inside T100 and also gain increased synergy from healing effects such as Masochistic and Circle of Life. With this pairing, we are able to sustain quite easily, and in addition, it provides a much larger threshold of health for damage reduction while injured. As you can see from the clips, Lightning Storm is very quick and absolutely deletes all mobs inside the dungeon, sometimes in a single tick. This is achieved by using a Malignant Heart to pull mobs together and then exploding them with the multiple on-hit effects a Lightning Storm build offers. Lightning Dancers, Overcharged, and Rune Workers are the main sources of this crazy amount of damage, and I would advise all three to be used in any Lightning Storm build. The only disadvantage of this setup is its single target damage against the final dungeon boss, which may take a bit longer than other builds depending on your RNG. Although it's a very small negative to take for how much fun you will have with this build. Once the gameplay clips are finished, I'll be back to go over some key points with gear, Malignant Hearts, and the Paragon Board. Welcome back everyone. So again, in this video, I'm not going to go in great depth for the stat priorities on the gear, the legendary aspects, the skill tree, and the Paragon Board. I'm going to leave all of that for the build planner that will be in the description. What I am going to do though is just go over the key points and stats that we're going for with this build, and then also the Malignant Hearts as well. So of course, we do need to have Tempest Roar. Any werewolf build that's using storm skills, this is kind of completely necessary, and by the time you get to level 100, you should have this unique. If you don't, then I'm sorry to say you're very unlucky. So again, for this build, we're stacking HP like I mentioned earlier. So for the chest armor, we want to get maximum life on there, and then I also think it's best to have it on the pants as well. You could go for more life on the rings, or instead of the legs and chest, you could have the max life on the rings. But in my opinion, you lose a bit more damage if you take max life here instead of on the chest armor and legs. You don't need to have all 4 pieces of gear with max life because that's a bit overkill. 23k without any max HP pots seems to be pretty nice. So other key stat which is important for the build, includes damage reduction while injured, which we can get on the boots and also the pants. You can also get it on the necklace, but I don't have it on currently. The reason why damage reduction while injured is so important is because with a large amount of health, we have around a 7 to 8k injured health pool, so we're gaining that 66.4% bonus while injured. So it's very hard for us to die when we fall below that threshold. I do also have a switch here, which brings me up to 80.5% while injured, in case I feel like I'm getting killed too easily or taking too much damage. This also helps just to bring that number up a bit more. So max health and damage reduction while injured is the most important. Obviously all other damage reductions are good. Damage reduction from close, damage reduction from poison enemies, that's all good stuff. Also armor. Armor's also good, and total armor while in werewolf. So for the Malignant Hearts, we're going to be going this one, which is a defensive heart that suppresses up to 20% of damage. This is just a flat 20% damage reduction buff, and it's very, very strong, especially when we're running T100s, so we don't die or take much damage as often. Again, for this one, you're really only looking for the first stat to be as high as possible. The explode damage doesn't really do much at all, even though it says it multiplies it, but after testing it does do very little damage, so don't worry about getting a good roll on that. For the ring, I've took the pink heart, which is the suck heart, which pulls in enemies while we have an ultimate skill active. So whenever we're proccing to activating our Grisly Rage, we will automatically trigger this, and then we'll suck the enemies in close to us. This is very effective for Lightning Storm and also Tornado in the previous video, as it stacks all the mobs together, and then all our synergies with Lightning Storm especially, they all just explode the mobs, from like lightning dancers, from Rune Worker's Conduit. It's just everything stacked up, and they all take that damage together, which just, that's why you're seeing those mobs just get absolutely deleted during that time. And then for the final heart, we're just going to take the Vicious Heart, which gives us crit strike damage. We're pretty much always critting with this build, as we're using Earthen Might, and with a good amount of lucky hit chance and also crit chance, we do proc Earthen Might pretty often. So we're always gaining that crit chance. So that's pretty much it for the gear. So again, key points: max health, damage reduction while injured, and then these 3 Malignant Hearts. I just want to mention, if you feel like you're tanky enough or want to do lower content as well with this build, you can switch out one of the hearts with the Arc Lightning Heart. This just provides a bigger AoE damage amount that you can get just for clearing like Helltides or lower tier nightmares, etc. So this is just a nice switch to have as well. So I'll quickly go over the Spirit Boons. So for the top row, we're going to take Wariness for the reduced damage from elites. For the second row, we're going to take the maximum life, of course, so we're scaling that max HP so we can survive those T100 mobs. And then Calamity for the third row, so we get better Grisly Rage uptime. And then for the final row, we take Masochistic and Calm Before the Storm. For the skill tree, I'd just like to mention some key things here that help our survivability. So Circle of Life is a really good passive now, especially since the Masochistic nerfs. So we heal for 3% of our life every time a nature magic skill consumes spirit. So in Lightning Storm's case, every time Lightning Storm ticks, while you're channeling it, it heals you for 3% max health. And that's quite a lot, especially when we're stacking health. So it provides a nice amount of sustain to always keep us healthy. That's the main thing for defensive here. And then you also combine that with direwolves and masochistic just for more sustain. Again, for the Paragon board, just like the tornado build, we are stacking health still, so we can gain that synergy with the healing and also survive big hits and a large amounts of damage. So again, we're going to be taking maximum life at every opportunity. Even if it's not the main stat, we gain 4% here. Then you take the small nodes as well for 2%. So this whole area is another 8%. And then we take another 4% there. So another 8% there. So you get what I mean. It's basically we're just trying to stack as much HP as possible. And also defensives too. With this build, there is a few changes compared to the tornado version, as we don't need attack speed. So we've took a few more passives in order to gain a bit more damage. So the Paragon board, we've just took a bit more storm skill damage and then a bit more crit damage as well. We have also scaled the first glyph a bit more because we're using Fulminate now instead of Territorial. The reason why we use Fulminate is because a large portion of the time we aren't actually close to enemies because Lightning Storm is a range skill. So we can switch out this for Fulminate and gain quite a nice amount of lightning damage. So that's pretty much it for the build guide. Again, everything's going to be in great detail on the build planner, so make sure you check out that to follow. It's a bit easier to follow when you're looking at the build planner instead of the video. But I just wanted to talk you through a few of the key points so you get an understanding of where the build's coming from. So I'd just like to mention that Lightning Storm is much quicker at clearing T100s compared to Tornado. The only downside, like I mentioned earlier, is that the bosses at the end, they can take a bit longer to kill, as Lightning Storm doesn't have the best pure single target damage out there. However, for running through the dungeon, killing elites, doing objectives, this build absolutely wrecks all the mobs. I mean, you can see from the footage that it just deleting elites in a single tick. It's pretty crazy. And the plus side is it's very fun to play, and you can play it in all forms of content as well. It doesn't just have to be T100s. You can do your Helltides, you can do just open world content, you can do lower nightmares. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a very fun build and my favorite so far in Season 1. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to check me out on Twitch at Baldus Maximus, and I'll see you guys in the next one.